Fireside Chats. My name is Kelsey Beachwarner, and I'll be your host as we dive in deep to get to know the members of Atlantic Rising. Grab a drink and grab a seat as we begin Fireside Chats.
My name is Ruth. Sears, like the store, only more popular these days than the store. I am a financial advisor at Edward Jones, and my location is the one here on Chestnut Street, so just beside Napa.
How long have you been at Edward Jones?
Well, at this Edward Jones office, I have only been at since about April 15th. We actually moved to Atlantic so I could assume the position as Brian's partner in that office. I was at Edward Jones in Cameron, Missouri prior to being in this office here in Atlantic. So 5 years-ish with Edward Jones in its entirety.
Perfect. So Edward Jones brought you specifically to Atlantic, or?
Correct. Correct. The way we do business at Edward Jones, you don't just retire. And if Brian would happen to retire in the next few years, which I'm sure everybody wants to do someday, which is why I have a job. Mm-hmm. So when Brian would choose to retire, you would hope that whoever took your place or cared for your customers had the same type of work ethic and the same type of bedside manner that you did. So financial advisors at Edward Jones often bring in partners in their business and kind of see what they're made of, kind of test what they do for clients, how hard they work for clients, and become acclimated in the community. So that's why Brian sought me out, just to partner with me in this office, and it's been a great fit so far, I think, in the community and in that office.
Moving to Atlantic, who did you bring with you to the community?
Well, I asked my husband if he'd like to come with me, and he said sure. He had nothing better to do, no plans.
And your husband is?
Derek Sears. He actually works for the Messina Telephone Company. So actually, my son playing golf occasionally at Nishna also. So he says he's a bad golfer. He's not a bad golfer. It's a lie. So. And then our 9-year-old daughter Hope, who is probably the closest to 16-year-old, 9-year-old I have ever met. So God bless her. She looks like her mother, talks like her mother too. So she's full of sass. She's in the 3rd grade if they ever go back to school. So.
And did you bring any pets with you?
I did. I brought my 15-year-old blind, almost crippled miniature dachshund Susie.
Oh, sweetheart.
Yep. And then our lovable 6-year-old Vizsla, Lola. So they're polar opposites. You got one who's barely scooting along in life, and then one who's just bouncing off the walls every day like Tigger on the Winnie the Pooh. So
living your best life.
That's right. That's right. Most people have a favorite. Some like the calmness of Susie. Some like the boldness of Lola. Everyone has their favorite. I just make sure they don't, get lost or left outside. So.
Did somebody reach out to you specifically to join the Atlantic Rising group, or is this something that you sought out yourself or for your business?
That's a great question. So when I moved here, I asked as many people as would listen to me. Bailey was one of those people. I said, how would you suggest meeting people in the community? How would you suggest being active in the community? Because that's one thing I really find important at my core is being active in my community. And she suggested Atlantic Rising, and so I said, oh, sign me up. Sight unseen, kind of unproven. And so far, it's been a great experience. I've only been able to do a couple of things with the organization, but obviously, it's only been a year. So I plan to do many more.
Perfect. So with your next year being in Atlantic Rising, what do you hope to see, or what do you hope to do with Atlantic Rising in the next coming years?
Well, I think that we have a great opportunity to lead by example in this organization. So I believe that a lot of organizations were founded on certain things, but have kind of since removed from it, and it's just kind of something, that has gone by the wayside. I believe very strongly that we have to do the right thing, be good neighbors, be seen in the community as helpers, as good citizens, as patrons of goodwill. And it could be as simple as when you see someone that needs help, offering to help them. Someone who, is carrying in groceries, may have, more than one trip to look forward to, and you say, can I help you with that? Or picking up trash, you know, without it being an event.
Right.
Just doing what is best within the community, just offering to help whenever you see help's needed, not because it's good for, you know, anybody else, but because it makes you feel good in here, and because I believe that being a leader creates opportunity in your community.
All right, so I have some questions so that everyone can kind of get to know you if they don't know you already.
Proceed with caution.
Okay, so my first question is, if you could compare yourself to an animal, which would it be and why?
Most people say that I'm intense, so
Getting very feline vibe here.
yeah, I would say like a lion or a lioness. You know, I'm very protective of my daughter, so you know, mama. But I'm also very aggressive and passionate, so I believe maybe a lion. I don't want to go bear because that's, you know, big and scary, but lion's a little more majestic.
A little more approachable.
That's right.
So this is a very controversial question, but what are your take on garden gnomes?
Garden gnomes. I don't own any, but it's something I could see myself foraying into at some point. You know, it's got to be tasteful gnome, you know, not something that clashes with the overall vibe of your home or your garden, you know, which would kind of lead me into, should I then have a garden if I have a garden gnome?
Right. I think the possibilities.
You know,
are endless.
possibilities are indeed endless.
Name 3 things that you stocked up on for quarantine.
And I've got to be honest, correct?
Yes.
I stocked up on, of course, when everybody else was buying toilet paper, we also bought toilet paper. Canned goods, you know, my dad's a good Boy Scout, and so that was good idea there. We didn't really stock up on anything, to be honest. Made sure all our online subscriptions were up to date, so we could binge watch all of our favorite programming, as we've discussed many times, Tiger King and all of the essentials. So,
and going off of that, also something very controversial.
okay.
Did Carol Baskins?
Absolutely.
Okay. And
Sorry, Carol, if you're watching, but it's just way too obvious. I don't know why the authorities have not arrested yet. So, absolutely. And those of you who don't know who Carol Baskin is, really should branch out.
You need to watch them too.
You do.
Well, thank you, Ruth, for joining us today.
Absolutely.